So this is a Christmas video, that special time of year when we do things a bit differently, and I got a bee in my bonnet this year that I would like to have a Christmas village and a Christmas train. So that's the project I set about doing. And follow along and I'll show you how I did it. For the project, after consulting with my wife, I chose a sideboard we have in our dining room, which measures about 5 foot long by about 19.5 inches deep, which is too small for a train set. So I bought a piece of foam at 2 foot by 8 foot and cut it down to 6 foot long, which works with the radius of the train set. So then I went to my local hobby shop, always support your local hobby shop, and I bought this Bachmann train set, the Merry Christmas Express, which comes with this nicely decorated little 060 steam engine, as you can see, the hopper and boxcar, and a little four-wheel bobber caboose. And so this project kept kind of growing as I went along. Then I added several lengths of straight track because I wanted it oval, because you just get a circle. So then I wanted a little village. So I bought a little resin village off of Amazon. I'll talk more about that later. And then I decided I'll make a backdrop. So I found some nice pictures and put them on some foam cords. Anyway, I'll get into the details as we go along. But this thing, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And we bought some white fuzzy material from our fabric store and covered the whole thing so it looks kind of snowy. And then it was time to start actually building stuff. Unfortunately, during some badly planned early testing, the little steam engine took a dive off the sideboard and didn't work properly after that. So I dug out this DC New York Central Jeep I have. Hey, it's lightning stripe. So it's now the locomotive for the Christmas train. I don't know if you can see that little house has a yellow light inside, just the one on the extreme left there. I'm going to unplug this. You'll see it go off. There you go. So I bought this Christmas village off Amazon, and they all came with these inside, which had these little 3 of these watch batteries inside. I don't like batteries like that because they needed a switch on, one for each house. There was a little switch, a little toggle switch on each one. I don't know if you can see that there, which stuck down below and made them sit funny. Anyway, I don't like it, so I thought, you know what? I don't mind doing a little bit of wiring and soldering work. So for a couple, I think it was at $10 or so, I bought all these LEDs off Amazon. They're yellow LEDs. And I thought, why don't I take them apart, which is what I've done here. So I didn't film that part. But I took the toggle switch out. I took the batteries out. I took the original LEDs out because they were really low voltage. These are good for 6 volts. And then I bought this AC adapter. It was also very inexpensive, and you can set the voltage on it. So I have it set to, you can't see that, but 6 volts, because I know these LEDs are rated for 6 volts. So what I'm doing is I put the new LEDs in and glued them in place with just to hold them in place with some glue, and ran the wires out the bottom. And then I'm using wire that I own, which is this stuff here. It's actually for of course, the model railroad. And I'm running a wire to each one, and I'm soldering the 2 together with these heat shrink here. And then I'm running them through this power distribution block here, which is then connected back to the AC adapter, which I showed you earlier. I cut the end off, and so these are just bare wire. I just cut the stupid plug thing off. And so I'll have, when I'm done, I will have 6 little houses that'll all be controlled by the AC adapter. And I have the whole thing wired up to a switched extension cord, which also runs a little train, which I can show when it's all done. But anyway, this is what I'm working on right now. I got the soldering iron going. I got the glue gun going because I need quick setting glue and solder and cutting and these handy dandy wire strippers, also off Amazon, like isn't everything. And so that's what I'm working on right now. I'm just doing each one. I've done 2 so far, and I got 4 more to do because there's 6. But the little white modules, they're all ready to go. I just have to install them, glue them in place, and then strip and solder the wires together. So that's what I'm working on right now. The next one I'm working on is going to be this little church. The original thing were glued in, and it's kind of, so I got to scrape off any of this excess glue that came from the factory. So that's going to be my first step. So you can see I've cleaned most of the glue off from around this area. It just allows that thing to sit in properly so it sits recessed from the bottom. So there it is, glued in place, such as it is. I'm not nuts with hot glue. It's kind of stringy and messy, but it works fast, which is mostly what I need. It's because I can't hold these things well. But there it is, glued into place with the wires at the back. Now I have to attach the wires and connect it all up to that distribution block. So there are those little houses. The LEDs are been all glued in and wired up. You can see on my little heat shrinks where I glued together or soldered together the LEDs with feeder wire, which then goes down to this power distribution block, which then all connects to this AC adapter. So here's a moment of truth, and we're gonna see if this all works. Let's see, here we go. There they all light up. What do you know? The next thing now is to take it in the house and plant it on my Christmas Village train. At this portion, I'm creating a backdrop to go behind the trains. And I'm using this foam core, which is like just 2 pieces of paper with some foam sandwiched in between. And I'm using that to build the backdrop. And then I'm on the front, I'm using pictures I got off the internet. Here, I'll show you. So I'm going to have 2 tunnel entrances for the train on either side. The other one's actually all done. I'll show you that a bit later. So I'm just going to cut out the portal part so the train can go through there. And then the height I've settled on is 4.5 inches high. And then I'll show you how I support them later. That's 4.5 inches up to the top of this straight edge here. And I'm just going to cut it with it. There's the strip all ready to go. Now I just have to divide it up into the sections. I need one 8-inch and one 9-inch. Those are just what I measured out that'll work on the table. So I need to cut this into the things and then make the props. So just to show you what I do, I take a square and I cut it in half, and that makes the props that I glue on the back. But I'll show you more on that later. Cut the pieces I need. One is an 8-inch, one is a 9-inch, so that's the 8 there, I think. And then this is the piece I'm going to cut diagonally to make the supports. As you can see, I've cut these 2 pieces. These will be my supports, and I have the other ones already cut. Now time to put the photos on with some spray adhesive. The adhesive I use, I think I've showed this before. It's handy, just spray it on, then I can glue the paper on. But of course I'm wearing nitrile gloves because the stuff is sticky, being an adhesive. All right, I've trimmed the tunnels. This is the 9-inch piece, and as you can see, I've cut the portal out. And this is the 8-inch piece. Same thing, trimmed 8 inches and the portal cut out. Now it's time to glue them on. I was getting a bit ahead of myself before. All right, then you can see both tunnels. I have to cut out the portals on the foam core as well, but there they are glued on. Both. It's a little rough, but there's both portals cut out now. Now time to make the support. Turns out there were a couple little problems with these portals, although they look okay. They're a little ragged there where I did the cut. This part works great, by the way, and that's the supports all glued on. They're not in the right spot. So what happened was when I put these, so they were in the traxxas center, there was a big gap between here and the rest of the backdrops. These portals are too big. The whole thing was too big. What I figured out was happening, and when I was printing from my photo editing program, it was expanding the picture to fill the page, and I should have told it not to do that. So what I've done, I've gone back to my photo editing program, and I've come up with 2 different photos. So the portal's smaller, it's closer to this is the right-hand one, so it's closer to that edge, so the track should be in the right spot. And this one is the other side now, closer to this edge, so the traction. And I made the portals, these are smaller. So we'll see I'm gonna have to redo the two foam core. We'll see how they turn out. I finally printed and cut out the two portals. I took a lot more time and care in this one. So this is the right side portal. Now it's been shifted over toward the edges, and this is the left side portal, same thing, been shifted over. So the track should go, so what I've done now is I've taken the supports that I'm going to glue them onto, and I've traced out the portal. Before I glue it on, I just think I can cut it better. The other thing that occurs to me now that I've done this is I'm going to go inside and size it up just to make sure I got everything right. It's a good thing I did that. So while the portals line up really well and they look really great, the problem is now there's still a gap on this side. So what I did, I edited this picture to add more detail on this side. You can see kind of the line here. And then I traced out where it falls to cover the Christmas backdrop completely, so there won't be any spaces. And I did the same thing with the other side. It was much closer, although it doesn't look like it, but the picture was actually, it's just going to be a smidge. So it'll stick out from the foam core a little bit, but it's going to cover a gap, so who really cares? Now I got to trim these and kind of go back to where I was. So now I have the new piece with the flap at the end, which should cover the gap, though hopefully the portal is in the right place. Well, it is, because I've checked it out. And that's the right one, and this is the left one there. Again, the flap is smaller on that one, but it should cover all the gaps. Now I just have to make the props so they can stand up. So these are the newer versions. You can see I've got the props glued to the back, and there's the little paper flaps on both sides. You can't really see that one, but there it is there. So I'm hoping I've done my work, and now I'm going to let them set up, and then I'll actually test fit them a bit later. This is my Christmas village, and what I'm pretty sure will be its final form. So I have both the tunnel portals installed, and there's no gaps in there, and everything seems to be working good. So let's just see. And of course, this is the finished product. Individually wired and lighted houses. You can see the little steam engine. I made a little display for it, and then you see some of the little resin figures that came with the set. A little faux steam engine off to the left there, and Santa and a couple of reindeer, and a bunch of trees. They gave me and the lamps. It wasn't a bad little set actually for the money. And then of course there's wires coming out of the back of each one of those buildings, and it's going through and under the foam core backdrop. So the backdrop is hiding all the ugly wires and the power distribution block back there. And the pictures I just got off like Pinterest and stuff. I just Googled Christmas village backdrops, and they were kind of nice. I just edited them and printed them in the printer and glued them on the foam core like I showed you with the two tunnel portals. So that's it. And there's the engine up close. Look, I see that lightning stripe is a great scheme. And then, of course, I did add a few cars, like those two tank cars, the CN reefer, and the coaches, and the bows are my wife's idea. But it's pretty, and it's not meant to be a scale model railroad. It's just for fun. And here's a close-up of the village itself with the little people, the trees, the lamps. The lamps don't work. And just everything, a little phone booth there, all kind of fun stuff. And there's a close-up of the little steam engine. Like I say, it was nicely decorated. So that's the project. It just kept growing and growing, and I think it's actually done now. So there's the end. Okay.